What is up, guys? In today's video, we're going to have some Warzone settings that I think every player should change or at least be aware of and know that it's something that they can change to potentially have a better experience in Warzone. If you're a new player, this video is going to help you a lot. If you're someone who's been playing for a while, this video could still be helpful to you because you may have overlooked some of these settings or not really been aware of how good they potentially can be. If you guys do enjoy this video, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you would like to see more, comment down below what you thought of it, and my Twitch will be linked down in the description below if you want to watch me play live. So the first thing we're going to talk about is a colorblind setting called Tritanopia, and we're going to have it on the world setting only. And I'm going to have a clip right here showing the no colorblind setting on. This is just default in Superstore. And then I'm going to change it over to the Tritanopia version of it, and you can see that it's just so much more clear. I know a lot of PC players use NVIDIA filters. I personally play on PC as well, but I don't use filters because I actually lose quite a bit of frames just by using filters. And unless you have a really, really good PC, it's probably not going to be worth the frame drops in order to get filters when you can use something like Tritanopia here and get almost the same effect but without any of the loss in frames. And if you're a console player, you're definitely going to want to put this colorblind setting on because, as you can see, it makes it much easier to see in Superstore, see in those dark areas, see those rose skins. Everybody knows they're really, really annoying, and this colorblind setting can actually help you out a lot. A lot of people on my stream thought I was using filters when I switched to this. I used to have just default colorblind, no filters. And then I switched to this and people were like, oh, you started using filters again? And no, it was just a colorblind. It definitely does help. And I definitely think the game is much better with this colorblind setting. So I would definitely recommend trying this out or using it, whether you're on console or if you're somebody on PC who's been using filters. Maybe try turning the filters off and trying this out and see if like the added frame rate is nice for you. The next thing we're going to want to talk about is use/reload behavior. You're going to want this on contextual tap. What this is going to allow you to do is it's going to allow you to tap to pick items up, to search chests, everything. Instead of having to hold it and wait to pick it up, you could just tap it. And this is going to save you a lot of time when looting. It's going to make everything more seamless, which is nice. But you're also going to get the added benefit of potentially 50-50ing chests better than other players, or 50-50ing loot better than other players. And little things like that can actually make a huge difference in the early game. So not only is this like a quality of life feature, it's just going to be so much nicer and so much more seamless when looting if you're using contextual tap. It's also going to potentially allow you to win some of those 50-50 fights where you and another person go for loot at the same time. Those milliseconds of difference it takes to hold it versus tapping can really like make the difference in those fights. So I know when I first started playing this game, I was like, where the heck is tap to search? Where is tap to loot? I was looking for it for a while because I knew it was in the game. And for some reason, it's contextual tap under use/reload behavior. It's a weird way to call it, but it is what it is. The next thing we're going to talk about is going to be auto tack sprint. This is huge for controller players, at least. I think it's huge for everybody. And then you're also going to want to have tap to slide on. These two settings in combination are going to make your movement very, very good. I didn't want to use auto tack sprint for the longest time because it could be awkward to use auto tack sprint with like shotguns, for example, if they aren't fully automatic shotguns, because your character gets stuck in a loop where you're neither shooting nor sprinting and just nothing happens. It's really lame. So, but I switched back to auto tack sprint a few weeks ago, and it's just so insane. It makes the movement so much easier. You're pretty much always going to have ideal movement, and tap to slide is also going to help with that. And the same way we talked about contextual tap, you just always want to be tapping things rather than holding them. For tap to slide and auto tack sprint, this is going to make your movement a lot nicer because to slide cancel, you're going to slide twice, hit your jump button, and then sprint twice again to get your tack sprint, right? So you're going to sprint, slide, A, jump, sprint, slide, jump, right? So if you're having to hit that sprint button twice every single time, you can definitely have good movement without auto tack sprint, but it's just so much easier and more consistent to have auto tack sprint on. I know it's weird. I didn't want to use it for the longest, but trust me, this is a setting that pretty much everybody, once they switch to it, they're like, yeah, I probably should have switched sooner. Auto tack sprint just makes the game way easier. And then tap to slide, same thing. That whole button combo we were just talking about for slide canceling, imagine if you had to hold sprint, hold slide, tap to slide cancel, and then hit A. We're trying to get everything down to be as seamless and as easy and as fast as possible. So having tap to slide on rather than hold to slide is definitely going to be advantageous for you. And auto tack sprint is the same thing. You're going to want to have this on. I know it's weird at first, but once you get used to it, your movement is going to be so much more consistent, and you're just always going to have ideal movement, which is very nice if you want to be slide canceling around. On top of it, like, it hurts spamming left stick constantly to tack sprint. I feel like I can play so much longer and I'm less like irritated my left wrist for sprinting. I would actually get wrist pain just from like tack sprinting. So it's nice that they have auto tack sprint in the game. Kind of wish it wasn't in the game. I feel like it reduces the skill gap, but I think you should definitely take advantage of it. This next setting actually came out. I don't even know when this came out, but when I first started playing the game, you had to go into the keyboard settings to change this, but they did add it to the controller tab. And if you haven't been in your settings for a while, you might not have been aware that they added this. And it's going to be apply all plates. This makes it to where when you hold your plate button, you don't have to hold it the entire time. You can hold it, and once your character starts putting on the plates, you can like stop holding it and do other stuff, which is really nice because having to hold it every single time, if you mess that up at all, you're going to have to restart the entire animation. Just hold it once. Your guy puts on all the plates. You can go about your day and do what you want to do. It's really, really nice. And there's also some instances where I feel like the character might stop plating before where he'll resume when you have put all plates on. So once again, this isn't going to be the biggest deal, but it's just going to reduce the amount of buttons you have to hit or reduce the amount of times you're holding buttons. You can just hold it once. Once your character starts putting on plates, you're good. You don't have to hold it the entire time. And for somebody who doesn't play claw, I personally play claw, so it's really not that hard for me to hold Y. But for someone who plays standard, no claw, no paddles, if you have to like take your thumb off the analog stick to hit Y and keep it there while you're plating, you can't look around. But with apply all plates, you hold it, your character starts plating, you can put your thumb back on the analog stick and start looking around again. Another one of those things that's just a quality of life feature. It makes everything so much more seamless and easier, but it's also probably going to have a positive impact on your gameplay because everything is going to be more simple and you can focus on other things while the character is plating up. It's really, really nice. And the final thing we're going to talk about is going to be the Minimap. I'm sure if you've been playing Warzone for a long time, you know about this, but if you're a newer player, you might not have thought to change this. By default, the Minimap is round, and you're going to want to change it to the square Minimap because the square Minimap actually has more surface area on it, and it's definitely the way to go. So go for the square minimap. It's larger. It's going to be easier to see things. You're going to potentially see red dots that you might not have otherwise seen. And another thing you want to do is when you pop a UAV, open up your map. That way you might be able to see more area than what you just would on your radar. If you watch streamers, you'll see them doing this all the time when they have UAVs up. If they get a chance to, they'll check the big map and see if there's anybody else in the area that they're not quite seeing on their personal radar. I also use minimap rotation on personally, but yeah. You want the square minimap. It's much better. And then the final thing we're going to talk about is going to be dead zones for controller players. If you're a keyboard player, it doesn't apply to you. But for controller players, what dead zones are, it's how much you have to move the analog stick for movement to start registering in-game. So basically, this is going to make your stick more precise the lower it is. However, you open yourself up to some stick drift because these controllers are mass-produced and oftentimes wear and tear on them will cause stick drift. So I would recommend putting your dead zones as low as you possibly can without getting stick drift, and then getting used to what your sensitivity is from there. It might make things feel a little different at first. Like if I put my dead zone all the way down or all the way up, my sensitivity would feel different because the dead zones impact how your sensitivity feels. But I would recommend putting it as low as you can without getting stick drift. That way it's just as precise as it possibly can be, and then changing your sensitivity around from there to what feels comfortable for you. If you are someone who is having stick drift currently, you can mess around with the dead zones and potentially alleviate that. But that's going to be it for this video. Like we went over, you want to have the Tritanopia World Colorblind setting. It's great. You want to have contextual tap on your use/reload behavior. You want to try automatic tactical sprint with tap to slide. It's going to make your movement so much better. You're going to want to have apply all plates on just to save yourself the trouble of holding the Y button or the plate button, whatever it is for you. I play Xbox controller, so it's Y for me. And then finally, you're going to want to have the square minimap on because you're going to see so much more on it, and you're potentially going to see people that you wouldn't have seen otherwise. So that's going to be it for this video. Hope you guys find it helpful, informative, whatever. Comment down below what you thought of it. If you think there's any settings that are perfect for newer players that I left out of this video, comment them down below, and I will see you guys another time. Thanks for watching.
Wait, what?
On the roof. You have plates? I have two.
Comes. Right here.
Gas is closing. Get to the new safe zone.
Here. Oh, yep.
We go out this way? I don't have a mask.
Gas is moving.
It's a long way to the safe zone. We need to move.
Yo, it's just cold out. He's just cold out.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it. Back at it.
Fighting. I'm just gonna try to get ahead of them.
Shit!
Allied
They're on me!
cluster strike inbound.
No. Wait, say yeah. Right there.
Gas is closing. Get to the new safe zone. Gas is closing.
Oh.
Bro, I just choked so hard almost. Wait, it's not over. Fuck.
What? On top of the.
Let's go, GG boys.
Bro, I got like no aim assist on one of those kids. That was scary.